Hi, my name's Lee Matthews. I'm one of the physiotherapists that work in the pain management team at Queen's Hospital. I'm going to guide you through some gentle Pilates exercises today. I'm going to do them laying on an exercise mat on the floor. You might have an exercise mat on the floor yourself. It might be you do these on a rug in your lounge, or it might even be, if you don't like getting on off of the floor, that you even start off just by doing them on your bed. If you do them on a soft bed or something, maybe take the duvet away first so you've got a firmer surface to work from, but always work at a comfortable level for you. With each of these exercises, I'm probably going to do about 10 of each of them on each side, and it might be to begin with you just do 1 or 2, or maybe build up towards 5, and each time wait until I start the next exercise and then you can join in again, hopefully. Work at your pace, at a level that's comfortable for you, and hopefully, like lots of other people, you'll find this beneficial and helpful. So there's 5 key things that we're conscientious of through all of our Pilates exercises. One of those is the position of our pelvis. So throughout my Pilates exercises, I'm always trying to keep my pelvis in a nice neutral position. And we'll go through finding that with some of the exercises we do in a moment. But if you notice that during an exercise, you're overarching, or if you're pushing your back into the bed in a certain way, or the floor in a certain way, then it might be you're not in that neutral position. So always have an awareness of the position of your pelvis. The second thing, and one of the most useful things with Pilates, is that throughout all the exercises, we're going to work on engaging this corset of muscle that surrounds our tummy and helps to support our back. So we know that with long-term pain conditions, sometimes these muscles around here can actually get a little bit weak. So by doing Pilates exercises, and by during those exercises actually engaging that core of muscle, so we often say zipping up, or we might say work your core muscles. And what I'm actively trying to do there is to pull my belly button back in towards the spine. So a bit like if he was doing up a very tight pair of trousers, or doing a pelvic floor exercise. By engaging these muscles throughout the exercise, it will help to strengthen them. And then hopefully when you're doing activities at home, you'll start to notice that you've got that slightly better exercise tolerance to go with it. So this is a useful group of muscles to try and strengthen, and they're very important if we've got long-term problems like pain conditions. The third thing that we're going to consider is the position of our shoulder blades. So if we think about our collarbones, I want some nice wide collarbones. And that's not a sergeant major position. I'm not trying to be in a military parade. What I'm looking to try and promote is just a nice wide position. So it's a little bit like I'm trying to put my shoulder blades into the back pockets. So holding that position throughout, we know that our shoulders being kept in a good position as well. So throughout any movements of the arms or body, we maintain that neutral position here, we engage the core, and we keep our shoulders wide. The fourth thing I want you to consider is your neck position as well. So many things that we do during our normal day involve poking chin posture. We sit at a desk maybe, we might work at a computer, you might drive to work, and then you might slouch in the sofa when you get home. So there's lots of things that can promote poor posture around the neck. So during Pilates, what we're always being conscious of is that long neck, that lengthening of the spine there. And in doing so, we use our body more efficiently. So not only were we considering the position of our pelvis, but also that lengthening of the spine. The final thing to be aware of with your exercise is the position of your rib cage. So again, when we do some of the movements, you might find the temptation is to try as hard as you can, but sometimes we find that with that, we kind of overarch, and you might get what we call flaring of the ribs. So with the movement, not only do we keep this nice and controlled with the exercises, but we're also thinking about the placement of our ribs, and as you move, we try and keep that in a nice neutral position there. So it might be to begin with that you just try and work on the movements that I'm doing and join in with me. But with practice and with focus, it might actually be you look to refine those things and work on some of those other elements as well. And in doing so, hopefully it will help to get some of those muscles stronger. It could well help with your flexibility. And we know that with a long-term pain condition, it can be quite a useful thing to try because it's actually a kind of form of exercise as well. So work at a pace that's good for you, and it might be that you only do a few of each of the exercises to begin with and build up towards the level that I'm doing them at. It might be you find them quite easy and you find there's progressions that you'd rather use, but work at the level that's right for you at the moment. And I'd much rather you did them gently and then came back and repeated them again sometime than find that you make yourself sore and then never want to try them again. So we're going to start off by bringing ourselves onto the floor to begin the exercises. You might have a cushion to go under your head, you might even use a folded towel, and that would be absolutely fine. I'm just going to rest on the floor for myself here. So I'm resting with my knees bent, my feet flat on the floor. I'm going to find that nice pelvic neutral position, so I tilt my back into the bed, squashing that arch of your back, the small of your back into the floor, and then back up. And then I lift away, and I'm just looking for that nice mid position. So there we go. I'm going to hold that and maintain that throughout the exercises. My knees are about nose width apart. There's a little gap between my knees. They're not pressed together at the moment. And I've got a nice wide set of shoulder blades, and I've got a long neck. So I'm not poking my chin to the ceiling. I'm looking for a nice long neck. So I'm going to start by engaging that core muscle. I'm going to zip up my tummy, drawing the belly button in towards the spine, and holding that position, I'm going to slide my leg out and away from me. And the whole time I do that, I'm engaging that muscle. And a lot of the exercise in Pilates we tend to do on an outward breath. So again, I do the same on the other side. I engage that core muscle, and as I breathe out, I slide that leg out and away from me. So I'm going to carry on going. I'm going to try and count to 10 on each leg doing it. So I'm going to do 10 repetitions on each side, nice and slowly, maintaining that core throughout. So I engage, I breathe out, and I slide the leg out and away from me. And we maintain this focus throughout Pilates on trying to concentrate as we engage and do the exercise. And it might be you relax between each of them, and that's fine. So this is the exercise at its basic level. If you found that was easy, the progression is having the arms up towards the ceiling. And it's a test of coordination as well. So as I slide out with one leg, the opposite arm comes out and away from you. Again, this is where we talked about making sure you don't flare with the ribs. And again, let's do the same on the other side. So I'm engaging my tummy muscles throughout that movement there. So here we go. You just do what's comfortable for you. It might be to begin with that you just literally do the legs and just do a couple of repetitions of that. But again, we see lots of different levels of ability, so I'm just trying to make sure that you've all got something that's the right thing for you. So that was our first exercise. What we're now going to do is one where we gently bring the leg out to the side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to engage the core. I'm keeping my tummy in a nice engaged position there, nice neutral spine. And I'm going to keep one knee completely still, and the other knee is going to slowly drop out to the side. Now if I'm doing this perfectly, my knee that's staying still shouldn't move at all. It's almost like you're made out of stone. Now, this isn't about how far you go, it's about control. So I'm going to do 5 on one side, and you could do more than 5. And then I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. So it might even be that you placed an empty yogurt pot or a cup on the opposite knee. I try and hold that position and maintain it. And if I'm engaging that core, We don't want that to move at all. So again, imagine it's the nicest drink that you love and that you don't want to spill any of it. And the whole way through, we engage that core and the knees shouldn't move at all. I think I can see a wobble. And back to the start position again. And the next thing we're going to do is an exercise called the shoulder bridge. So I'm going to engage the tummy muscles and I'm going to push the small of my back into the mat and then relax again. Now for some of you that might be as far as you go, but the actual shoulder bridge itself is a continuation of this. It's a bit like a Mexican wave, starting from the tailbone all the way up through the tummy, up towards the shoulders. And then again like a Mexican wave, it comes back down again, one segment of your spine at a time. And like so many of the Pilates things we do, it's a slow, controlled movement. So again, I engage that tummy muscle, I push the small of the back into the bed, and I slowly lift the back off of the bed, the floor, and then back down again. So again, if you push really far with this, it can be painful. So for some of you, it might just literally be half of that movement. You might literally just clear your bottom of the bed. You might not even get the bottom off of the bed, but just engaging those muscles, working the spine can be really, really useful for just building that muscle that supports you and mobilising some of those stiff joints. So I'm going to go back a little bit higher this time. There are progressions to these exercises. I think I'm going to keep it quite straightforward at the moment. Sometimes there's a temptation to try the really hard stuff, and I think it just can irritate people sometimes. So hopefully this won't be the only video out there to look at. That's good. And relax. So again, we center ourselves and we're going to move one of the legs again, but this time we're going to do something called scissors level 1. So I'm going to engage the tummy muscle, nice wide shoulders, make sure your neck's in a good position, and in holding that position I'm going to bring my leg up, and it's a bit like it's resting on a coffee table, and then back down, and then the same on the other side, and down again. So this muscle remains engaged, and on an outward breath, I lift up and down. If you find that's too difficult, it might actually be that you have the foot closer towards your bottom, so effectively it reduces the length of the lever, so it puts less strain on you. So you pick a level that's right for you. And again, I mean, this is a little bit more challenging now with this one, so it might be you just focus on the earlier stuff and save this for another time. There's lots of progressions to this as well, but we're just going to do level 1. What we can also do with this is bring the leg up and make a small circle. So my knee is almost a bit like I've got a paintbrush tied on it and I'm trying to draw a circle on the ceiling. So I'm going to make about 5 circles going one way, so remember which direction, and back down again, and then engage that tummy muscle, and this time make a circle going in the opposite direction. And back down again. And let's do the same on the other side now. So again, I bring my leg up to tabletop, keeping that core engaged, and I make a circle from the knee in one direction. I'm going to do about 5 circles, I think, and then back down. And then again, trying to remember which way you went the last time, we're going to do the circles in the opposite direction. and back down again. So I do a couple more on each side. And down. And again, find that neutral position, engage the core. And down. And down again. Right, I'm going to engage the tummy muscle again, and this time I'm going to bring the leg up towards the corner of the room. I'm going to hold it for a few seconds and then down again. And the same on the other side. So if you imagine that bit where the wall meets the ceiling, I'm just getting my toes towards that position, I hold for a few seconds and then down again. And then the same on the other side. So you engage the core, hold that neutral position, and down again. And the same again. So again, number of repetitions is down to you. And if you've had enough by now, it might be that you just stop and join in again another time. You can feel that in the tops of the thighs. And you can feel the back working as we stabilise there. One more movement that we can do in this position to help our tummy muscles to engage. I'm going to engage my core. I'm going to lift my shoulder blades off the bed slightly and do what we call hundreds. So the small pulses, imagine you've got two puddles either side of you, and we're trying to splash and down. So the aim would be you did about 4 sets of about 25, and they're rapid movements there. So again, if I engage my tummy muscles, I lift up, and it's a little bit of trembling going on here, clearly, and down again. And as we do this, we want to make sure that you don't bring your chin right into your chest. So you keep that nice gap, a bit like you've got an orange or something between your chin and your sternum. And down again. I'll do one more set of those. Now I can't promise doing these will give you a six-pack, but I think it'll probably help with some of the muscles that we normally use in a normal day. And relax again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to our side. So I'm going to bring myself rolling onto the side there. If you imagine that your pelvis is in a nice neutral position there, so we find that neutral position again. Imagine there's a gap, just a small gap. So we're not just flopping into the mat here. You might well have a pillow or a cushion underneath your neck, and that's fine. And my hand's going to rest in front of me, but in a way that's not too heavy-handed. So I'm not trying to force in here, I'm just gently supporting myself. My knees and ankles are about 90 degrees. I'm going to engage my core, and we're going to do a move called the clamshell. So this time, imagine that cup is balanced on your hip, and I slowly go upwards and down. And again, notice that I'm not rolling back with the pelvis. This stays perfectly still where the belt line is. I go up and down. And this isn't about how far you go, it's again about that control and engaging the pelvis throughout. So again, we're aiming for about 10 on one side. And now what we're going to do is another movement of our leg while we're in this position. We'll repeat this the other side in just a moment. So I'm going to bring my leg out nice and straight, and I want you to draw a nice horizontal line in front of you. So imagine you've got a paintbrush between your toes and you're painting a nice horizontal line on the wall. And the whole time you do this, you're your pelvis remains level as you go forwards and backwards. And again, try and do that for about 10 repetitions. And if you haven't already noticed, it works the glute muscles. So forwards and backwards. Nice flowing movements there, aiming for about 10 repetitions. And what we're going to do now is bring ourselves onto a 4-point kneeling position. So I'll move myself around to this side of the mat just so you can see me a little bit easier. And what we're going to practice doing first of all is like an angry cat position. So I'm going to start in a nice neutral position, a bit like you've got a tray of drinks on your back. And what we're going to do, we're going to tuck the tailbone under and tuck the head underneath us. So we're arching like a cat. And then the opposite of that. So I poke my bottom out and I try and look up in front of me. So sometimes this is used in yoga as a cat and a cow position, but it's a really nice stretch for the whole spine, and it works some of the tummy muscles and some of the back muscles. So you might not go that far when you do it, you work to your own tolerances, but we're trying to bring ourselves up and down. So as you breathe out, you tense up and curl underneath you. And then breathe in as you look up in front of you. And then when you've done about somewhere between 5 and 10 of them, bring yourself back into that nice straight rest position where your back is nice and level, hopefully. And now what we're going to try and do in this position is hold that nice level back and bring your arm up in front of you slightly. And back down again. And the same on the other side. Now if you found that's a bit hard on your arms, you can bring your weight more over the hips. So it's less effort for the shoulders. That's fine. Again, or you might have more weight on the arm. It's really good for building strength around the shoulder blade area. And we're engaging that core of muscles throughout here. I've done about 5 of them on each side of the arm. So now let's do the same with our legs. So again, you might just literally bring the leg out behind you a little bit and back down again. But it might be, if you feel quite comfortable with it, that you bring the leg up behind you. And notice the whole way through this, we're trying to keep that nice level spine, a nice straight back. So I'm not trying to arch. Imagine you've got a tray of drinks balanced on your back throughout this. So it's promoting those muscles of our core, but it's also working your glutes and your hamstrings with this exercise. I'm going to try and do about 5 on each side. That's good. So earlier we worked on our clamshell and glutes on one side, and now what we're going to do is swap over and do the other side. So I lay in this position, I found that pelvic neutral, small gap here, your hands nice and relaxed here. And what I'm going to do is make sure I'm in a good position again, and again zip up that muscle, and slowly that knee comes away and back down again. It's a nice slow controlled movement. And imagine you've got a tray of drinks, maybe not a tray, maybe a single drink, balanced on your belt line there, and you hold and maintain that throughout. It's a nice rested position. and that movement's all coming from the hip area, not from dropping the pelvis back, so it stays nice and level throughout. And then, as we did on the other side, let's bring that leg out nice and straight and drawing out that nice horizontal line there. So again, we work the muscles slightly differently around the hip, but drawing a nice horizontal line, sweeping the leg forwards and backwards. And slowly bring yourself back up into a seated position. So this was a gentle taster of Pilates. I've tried to keep the level quite low, but hopefully you've managed to gauge it so that it doesn't irritate you too much doing these. There's lots of Pilates classes out there, there's other videos on YouTube. With any form of exercise, I'd always be keen for you to find the level that's right for you. Pilates can sometimes be done at a very high level for people, even doing things like ballet, and even the right exercise but done at the wrong intensity can cause lots of irritability with our symptoms. So start small. You might have found that some of these exercises irritated you today, and it might be another time you start a little bit smaller next time maybe. You might have found them easy and just build up towards doing 10 repetitions of each of them. And there's lots of progressions there, so hopefully this has been of use to you, and some of these exercises can be really nice for getting our back gently moving, building some muscles a bit stronger that help to support our back as well. So have fun with them,